Welcome! This is a brief overview of the educational and training requirements for becoming an International Board Certified Lactation Consultant, or IBCLC, from the Milk Research and Educational Group at North Carolina State University. When you first look into becoming an IBCLC, all the options and terms can seem confusing, but a quick explanation should go a long way in helping you understand the requirements and process. Just to clarify so you understand where these requirements are coming from, the International Board of Lactation Consultant Examiners is the certification body that sets and administers certification and recertification standards for IBCLCs. A reminder that the information we're giving here is for informational, educational purposes only. You should verify all information on the IBLCE website, and you can also contact a member of their staff if the information on the website isn't clear. You also should keep an eye on all the requirements as you move through the process. The requirements can and do change, so nothing we say here and nothing that is on IBLCE's website today should be taken as the final word. You need to stay tuned throughout your training process as to whether changes are coming down the pike and whether you need to change your plans accordingly. Let's start by talking about the general overview of the pathways, so when we talk in more detail about each specific pathway, you'll understand what each of the components is. All the pathways have these four components in common. You have educational requirements and clinical hours to complete, and you will then be eligible to take the IBCLC exam. The first three steps are shown in a general order, but don't necessarily need to be completed sequentially. You can be completing your health science courses and lactation education while you're getting your clinical hours. But note that you must complete your 90 hours of lactation education and your clinical hours within the 5 years immediately prior to the date you apply to take the exam. So let's look at each of these components in more detail, starting with the health science prerequisites. As IBCLCs, we must have a broad and deep knowledge base to best serve our patients. You can demonstrate that you have completed coursework on the relevant topics in two ways. One option is to already be a clinical professional, such as a nurse, dietitian, doctor, or speech pathologist. In these professions, you are assumed to have already completed the relevant coursework. If you are not a professional on the approved list in the blue box on the left, you must show that you have completed the courses shown in the gray box on the right. The courses in black must be taken for academic credit, so not a continuing education course or a course that will just provide you with something like a certificate of completion. They must be provided by an accredited institution of higher learning. Many people take these courses online on websites like study.com or sophia.org, which can be more affordable even than taking them through a community college, and that you can do entirely online and self-paced. Please note that you need to make sure you are taking them for credit, specifically ACE credit, ACE credit, in order for them to be acceptable for IBLCE. The courses in red can be continuing education courses, which you may take online or in person. There is no expiration date on any of these courses, so if you took some of these courses at the college level at any point in time, even if it was longer than 5 years ago, they can still count. The lactation-specific education is 90 hours of education covering topics specific to lactation and breastfeeding. And starting with exam candidates in 2021, you must also show that you have taken another 5 hours of education focused on communication skills. For your 90 hours, IBLCE encourages you to cover all the topics covered on the IBCLC detailed content outline. Some people complete their hours via taking continuing education courses or attending conferences intended for lactation consultants already in practice. They may attend regional or state conferences offered by lactation consultant associations, breastfeeding coalitions, hospitals, nonprofits, and others. There are also online conferences. However, conferences usually cover a grab bag of topics, some very advanced, and they aren't focused on covering the detailed content outline. We do encourage you to instead consider a comprehensive course that's intended for students who are training to be lactation consultants and preparing to take the IBCLC exam for the first time. You may take courses like this in person or online. NC State offers these courses on campus and online, as do other providers. The final component, besides taking the exam, is gaining clinical experience in lactation care, and the type and number of these hours varies a lot based on the pathway. So in our next section, we're going to go through the pathways and talk about the clinical hours requirement in more detail in each. We hope this has been a helpful introduction to the components of IBCLC training. To see the free full webinar with detailed explanations of each of the pathways, as well as a forum where you can ask questions about your individual situation, just head over to go.ncsu.edu/IBCLC. We'd love to see you there. Thanks for joining us and best of luck on your journey to IBCLC.